want Putin to keep what he's stolen would be unthinkable. I mean, I think, for example, well, hang on. I think, okay, you can answer, but I'll add this to
you, man, but I'm not going to allow you to categorize.
Well, let me add this to it.
I'm not going to allow you to categorize.
Benny Johnson destroys Piers Morgan on his very own show. Benny Johnson was on a panel on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. The whole Ukraine-Russia conflict got brought up. Piers Morgan implied certain things that Benny Johnson didn't like, and Benny Johnson made sure to let him know that he did not like it. Let's see what goes down.
But it's unfortunate that they did.
Benny Johnson, welcome back to Uncensored. Always great to have you. You and I don't agree about this, but explain to me, I mean, your position, I'm going to miscategorize it, but I think your position is the kind of making America great theme means that America should put itself and its own interests first, and those interests do not include racing to the defense of a country thousands of miles away that's already had a lot of billions of American money poured into it and can't defeat the enemy anyway. Is that broadly where you sit?
Yes. And if you go talk to the progressive left, or if you go talk to anyone at a MAGA rally, they'll tell you the exact same thing. This is one of the most unifying issues in America right now, is that Americans are done having our greatest treasure, which is the lives of Americans, poured into countries that are not our own, defending territories and borders that are not our own. And then other treasures of Americans, like our national debt, our actual monies, being spent to the tune of $35 trillion in debt. What is that going to leave our children? It certainly hasn't made the world a safer place, Piers. And I'll say this, it is suicidal for Joe Biden on his way out to sabotage a peace that President Trump has promised to bring to this region. And I hope he does, because an ugly peace is better than a hot war. For Joe Biden to say that American missiles should be lobbed into the heart of Russia. Would you stand for it if Russian missiles were being lobbed into the Midwest? I certainly wouldn't.
Well, Russian missiles.
Yeah, it's almost as if Joe Biden is trying to just burn everything to the ground on his way out. Like, you know, a lot of people, they think Joe Biden, oh, you know, he's just harmless old man. And, you know, I mean, a part of me, like, you know, I don't think he's a good person. Like, don't get me wrong. I was like, I don't think he's a downright good person, but I don't think he's evil. But things like this, like telling Russia, like, yeah, go ahead, send these missiles to, telling Ukraine to go ahead and send these missiles to Russia. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know about that. That's pretty bad stuff. And it seems like he's angry, he's bitter over being pushed out. I mean, clearly he didn't want to give up power. He did not want to give up power. He had to be pushed out. And not only do I think he probably voted for Donald Trump. Not only did I think he kind of sabotaged Kamala just a little bit, not a lot, but I don't think he helped any. And now with this whole missile thing, it's like, I don't know, it's wild. This whole thing is wild. But, you know, let's see what Piers and Benny Johnson have to say about it.
Well, hang on, Russian missiles are being lobbed indiscriminately into a European sovereign democratic country. They've also just recruited 10,000 North Korean soldiers to join the war. And I'm just curious, Benny, genuinely curious. I hear you, yes, and I respect your opinion. Genuinely curious, if you went back 25, 30 years, the idea that Republicans would be happy for a Russian dictator helped by North Korea to invade a sovereign democratic European country and actually want Putin to keep what he's stolen would be unthinkable. I mean, I think, for example, well, hang on. I think, okay, you can answer, but I'll add this to
you, man, but I'm not going to allow you to categorize.
Well, let me add this to it.
I'm not going to allow you to categorize it that way. Nobody's happy about this.
I will, but
Vladimir Putin's an let me finish. He's a dictator.
Let me finish.
And nobody likes this war. I don't want this war to happen. I don't want this war to be won by. I don't want this war to be happening at all. I want there to be peace. I want people to stop dying.
Yeah.
Much like Israel and Gaza, I want peace. I do not want this to drag on so that it creates a nuclear conflict that might draft my children or your children into another war. You have military-age sons, Piers. Would you want them to fight in Ukraine?
Yeah, but the point I was going to make before you interrupted me was...
But would you? Would you like for your sons, you have military-age sons, you want them to go fight in Ukraine?
I will answer that question in a moment. But what I will say to you first of all is what I was trying to say before you jumped in, which was, what is the difference, just ideologically, when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait? Kuwait wasn't a NATO country. Why did Desert Storm happen? Why did General Norman Schwarzkopf, encouraged by every Republican I've ever met in my life, encourage the removal of Saddam Hussein from Kuwait. What is the difference? You were basically supporting Kuwait's right to defend itself and to have freedom from a rampaging dictator from Iraq. Why the different rules now? What changed?
There's so much that's changed, especially in the policy of the Republican Party, which is where I thought you were going with this, Piers, which is why I cracked a smile, because the Republican Party itself has now taken a stance against neocons. I would argue probably the worst decision Kamala Harris made on the campaign trail, and that's a long list. Piers, I wonder if you'd agree with me on this, is to bring Liz Cheney on the trail with her.
Totally agree.
And to say, Liz Cheney is going to be my Secretary of Defense.
Totally agree.
You go and say that to Arab communities in Michigan, and you wonder why you lose Michigan.
Yeah.
I think it's suicidal. I think people are done with neocon ideology.
Yeah.
And to your point about Saddam Hussein, I'll say the same thing that I'll say about Putin. I'll say the exact same thing. These are dictators. They're bloodthirsty. I don't think they're to be trusted. I don't like these actions. But let me tell you, I am an American first. I was born on this soil. This is my country. I am a Native American. I'm born here. My grandparents were born here. I do not want my children, and I have 4, Piers, to die for Iraq. I don't want my children to die for Afghanistan or die fighting ISIS or Russia in Ukrainian soil. I think that is antithetical to the founding of this nation and antithetical to our great founding father, George Washington, who warned in his last declaration to the American people as he was leaving office, do not get embroiled in foreign entanglements. It's the destroyer of nations.
Okay,
and we've seen it with the British Empire. Piers, sorry to. We've seen it with the British Empire. We've seen it with every empire that has existed, with the Roman Empire all the way through. And I think we should follow these wise words. And
one final.
You know, absolutely right. I see why Benny Johnson got upset at Piers, because the way he says, like, well, it's the way Piers worded it. Piers worded it like, well, it's crazy to see Republicans happy to see Russian invade, happy to see Putin invade Ukraine and stuff like that. It's like, no, we're not happy to see that. We're not happy. We're not cheering on Russia. No one is doing that. We just want this war to end. We want this conflict to end. And we want to stop sending billions and billions of dollars, because it's just a never-ending money pit, that whole conflict is. We're sending billions of dollars, and Zelensky hasn't been able to freaking win this war with billions of our dollars sent over there? What's going on there? You know, I've said this, like, I don't understand. You know, I've said this before. Does Putin just have does he have billions of dollars at his disposal that whenever Zelensky gets $1 billion, Putin has $1 billion to match it, and that's how he's been able to keep going, and Zelensky's been able to keep going? It just comes off to me that whatever's being sent to Ukraine isn't exactly being put into fighting this war. There's a reason why people call it like a money laundering thing, and quite honestly, yeah, I could believe that something of that nature is going on with this whole thing. And that's why we just want it to end. We're not happy with Putin, what's he doing to Ukraine. We don't like Putin. I know that's been the narrative the last 8 years or so. Oh, Republicans, they love Putin and stuff. Donald Trump, he loves Putin. Puppet of Putin. But no, that is not the case. We do not like Putin. We do not like Russia. I don't hate Russia, like in terms of like the people or anything like that. But no, we're not fans of Putin, and we do not want him to just go and take over Ukraine. But I also just don't want to see people fighting and losing their lives in this war anymore. And clearly sending them billions of dollars isn't doing anything. So why not we just come and bring this to an end? I don't think that's unreasonable to say. But what do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below. Give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you like content like this. And if you want to see more crazy arguments on the Piers Morgan Show, I got a whole playlist for you on the screen, along with some more goodies for you to click away and enjoy.